Welcome to the Mind Your Own Business podcast and show. I am your host, Elizabeth Upton, and as a former executive, I have seen it all. Our conversations are aimed at inspiring new ways that you can redesign your business and your life so that you can create more time, freedom, and power than you ever thought possible. If you are a highly driven business professional, ranging from I have an idea to an emerging entrepreneur to a CEO who's ready to expand your team, or even if you are an employee who works for one, this show is definitely for you. Join us as we discuss strategies and tips and hacks that will help you to mind your own business, all while not taking ourselves too seriously. There's a little bit of all things business in here, designed to simplify and set your life up for success, from operations, marketing, sales, finance, and mindset to self-care. All of my guests have made an impact in my life, and hopefully they'll do the same for you. If you love to learn and are ready to level up, you're in the right place. Welcome to the show.
The reason why PR is so exciting right now is the content creation aspect of it. We don't, like I said before, we don't have to wait for somebody to greenlight an article all the time. At the end of every month, I'm like, I did this many pitches, we secured these many articles. These are the things that could possibly be happening. These are the things that passed. These are the social media posts that we created. These are the videos we created. These are the interviews that we had. This is all the stuff that we shared on our social media platforms, which for all intents and purposes, once we cultivate enough followers and subscribers, we can become our own media platform. It's like, if you're a big enough name and you have a strong enough voice and a strong enough following, you can be marketing to those people who are choosing to follow you and to stay on top of that. And so it's your responsibility to come up with constant content that is going to resonate with your brand and the people following you. So it's a lot.
And how would you start that in a bite-sized way? Let's say that you're not ready for a publicist, or we can get into the point when you're ready for that, but where would you begin? And it is overwhelming, and there are so many platforms, and there is so much that you can do. And then there's content, and then content begets more content. So where would you have someone that is just starting their business, or let's say they've been in business for a couple years, they're starting to build their team, they're ready to emerge, and yet they don't quite know exactly where to start? What would you advise them to do?
The first thing I think I would do is take a look at what I'm doing and ask myself, what's the story? Like, news-wise, if there's going to be an article or a segment or an interview or whatever, what is news? What is unique to what I'm doing that you can't get anywhere else? Then I would flip on the television, find my favorite local network, possibly the one that has the best ratings. Find out who is hosting, and a lot of on-camera hosts also are involved with creating stories and producing content, and you can find all of them on Twitter. Then you reach out to that person on Twitter and you send them a direct message and you say who you are, what you're doing, why you think what you're doing will resonate with the viewers, and what you would like to do, like as far as if you would like to do an interview, invite them to an event, be part of a segment. If, say, you make donuts and it's National Donut Day, can I send a bunch of donuts to the studio so you can have donuts on National Donut Day in your studio? Just like whatever that is, and just I reach out to the media all day, and one of the things about being a publicist is that I have relationships across platforms, but they started because I just started reaching out and introducing myself, and you can do that too, So it's just and Twitter and Instagram and Facebook are all avenues, and the websites for each outlet. Like if you go to the LA Times, hit contact, and you'll find the different contacts, because news sources are looking for stories. They're looking for you. They want to tell stories, So if you are a local business, start with local news. If you are a global business, how are you contributing to that global conversation?
Yes, yes. And, you know, that's what the great Cheryl Hunter talks about, you know, about how you can really make a difference in the media, sharing your story and being able to know that people will listen and that your story has value and that people want content out there, you know, because there's this perception that there's like the closed doors, and if you don't know somebody, you don't know somebody. And there is more content that we can create that they are looking for in the media, that they're wanting. And it's a whole nother dynamic than we're kind of taught, or that we think about, you know, when we grow up. It's like the gatekeepers, and then there's more gatekeepers, and there's more and more. And you know, if you do the work, because it takes a lot of work, and then you tell the story and you really get there and you want to help others in the world, people will listen.
You're exactly right. And what's so interesting and so crazy is, as far as, like you said, like with there being gatekeepers that want to keep, like, that, I don't necessarily think that that's true. I think that you just have to be brave enough to tell your story and to put it out there, and not be afraid of no, and not be afraid of failure. Because with those, like, I think we live in a world where people want to be nice. Like, even people in the media, like, and like, don't be afraid of them. They're all human, you know. A great idea when you're reaching out to people in the media is to reference something that they've written, or something that they've created, and how it's affected you, how it's touched you. You know what I mean? So it's just like, not just like, because so many people are reaching out and emailing and asking, but like, what can you offer? What can you give? So I always think, so if you have a brand and there's a physical product, I would like to send that to you so that you could have it and see if you enjoy it. And then if it resonates with you, if you think your viewers would like it, you know, let's do a segment, let's do an article, let's do a review, you know, and like, so that's just one way of being of service. But another way is to reach out and say, hey, Elizabeth, I loved your podcast. I thought it was really, really fun and interesting and entertaining. I got a lot of really great tips from it. I shared it on my Facebook and my Instagram and my Twitter, and I just wanted you to know, you know, if you're, and someday, if you're so inclined, I'd love to be a guest. These are the things I think I'd like to talk about, and I think your viewers would appreciate, you know, and just something as simple as that. And then finish it up with, please, please know that I've subscribed to your show, and I will continue to share. Or if you have something that you like, something specific that you want to get out there, be sure to let me know so I can help promote in my circle. You know what I mean? And let people know that it's not just me emailing you. I come with a newsletter full of people that subscribe to my newsletter. So what I communicate with, because writers and producers, they want ratings, they want analytics, they want eyeballs, you know? So if you can be part of that, you know, if so many people make the mistake of just being like, I booked an interview, and then they do the interview, and then they think it's just like, no, starts. Now let's share that. Let's make sure that everyone that you know has access to that interview, so they can read it, so that those viewership numbers and the uniques on it can go through the roof. So they'd be like, oh my gosh, we need to get Elizabeth back in there, because the last time she was here, our audiences really loved it.
Well, you bring up such an important point about how you can give back out there on social media. You can give back to others. You can acknowledge what they're up to, and you can also be specific about getting support back. And I think that we don't do that enough, or we're a little scared to do it. I mean, a lot of what you have taught me, and I'm sure have taught others, is that there is a level of bravery and courage, and being able to have the permission to do it. And when you go out and you ask people, hey, would you mind giving me a rating or writing me a review, what would you say to people that are a little hesitant to do that?
I think that every email you send out, first off, make sure you read it through so there aren't any typos and it's grammatically correct. And then at the end, add a call to action. Because you could send that email, and then if there's no call to action, they could read it and then forget about it. But even if that call to action is, can you please confirm that you received this email and let me know your thoughts? That could be the call to action. It continues the conversation. You keep on that person's radar. But the other calls to action could be, please like and subscribe. Please give me a Yelp review. Please go over, you know what I mean? And so it's just like, whatever those, but don't be like, just the very last paragraph, have that be it. And also, if whatever the intent of your email is, and this is another lesson I learned from Howard Bragman, is to don't bury the lead. Write in the first sentence why you're writing the email. So if you're like, hey, Elizabeth, I'm writing to you because I was hoping that you would offer a positive review and a 5-star on my iTunes, on iTunes for my podcast, or something like that and here's why. But like, put it right in the front. It's because we live in, like, because you are a human in America with an email address. When you open it up every morning, you have hundreds of emails and you have to, like, it's overwhelming. And so people skim. And they just go, okay, nothing. So it's just like, put it right there. You don't want to run the risk of them missing it. So put it in the first sentence. And then hopefully you've written it so compelling and it's so newsworthy and it's so interesting that at the very end, that call to action like drives it home. And you ask them, always ask people to write you back. Like, keep conversations going. You know what I mean? Because because it's so easy to be like, oh my God, I haven't talked to that person in 6 months. Where did the time go? You know, they're busy, you're busy, everything. And like, then even if they don't write back to you, at least the ask was there. So the next time you connect with them, or if you see them at the grocery store, if you run into them at an event, or if you send them an email, they're like, oh, that's right, I owe you an email. You know, that's right, you asked me to, like, and so it just creates that currency. And also, speaking of currency, another thing that I love is when things go wrong. I love it, love it, love it when things go wrong, because reacting to a problem, solving a problem, or being gracious when something, say someone has to reschedule something, or like you get booked to do a TV segment and they're like, we have to cancel and we got to push it back a week. If you go, I know you're busy. I know that there's a lot of breaking news right now. Totally understand. Let me know when you want to reschedule. That is so much more well received than, well, great, I had lost a whole day of business, and you know what I mean? And like, so just being gracious and sometimes that will be remembered more than if you had a great segment. You came in, you hit your mark, you said your things, you left. Everyone will be like, yeah, okay. But if something horrible happens, or something uncomfortable where they think, oh my God, Elizabeth is going to freak, or this is going to be such an inconvenience, and you graciously say, not a problem. I totally understand. When's a good time to do this? Or, you know, what just handling it with grace is always so appreciated in this world, because again, we live in LA and there are a lot of attitudes and a lot of egos and a lot of people who aren't accustomed to graciously accepting things. And it's just like, I think it goes a long way and it gets remembered.
Totally. Yeah, being gracious is such an incredible attribute to have when you're working with anybody in any industry, you know, being able to do that. And also acknowledging others, I think, is really important, and acknowledging how busy we are. And even though we're in the middle of this pandemic, I mean, we're still so busy and we're on our computers all the time, you know, so being able to just say thank you and I appreciate you. I have this thing that I have created on my Instagram account that I call a virtual shout out. And we don't have to say I love you or I appreciate you after someone is, going through a trial or tribulation, or God forbid they have passed away. We sometimes wait to say how much we love someone else. And so I created this virtual shout out because I was missing seeing all my friends and being at home and not getting out of the house. And everyone that I write, I am crying. Like I am like putting my heart and soul. I know that I'm doing it right when I'm crying. And I put it out there for no reason at all. Just to say, thank you for your heart. Thank you for what you've done. Thank you for the dancing we used to do when we could go out. Thank you for the meals that we've eaten and the time that we've had. And what I get from that is like, it just shines them in the middle of the day. They're like, it just pops up and they're like, oh my God, why, what? Like, thank you so much. Why did you do this? This is incredible. Like, you made me cry. You made me stop. You made my day. And taking those little moments to make people's day, or if you're, in the media and being gracious and saying, thank you for what you do. Or if you're at a restaurant, or if you're driving through somewhere, just to say, thank you so much for what it is that you are doing. You're doing a good job. It's like, it goes so far. And I feel like it's not that hard. You just open up your heart and you share. And a lot of what you do with public relations and with branding, I see there being a connection there. I really see that.
Well, it's because people ask me what I do for a living, and I say I'm a publicist, and then they instantly think that I'm on a red carpet with a celebrity. And it's like, no, that's also PR, but it's like it's a different side. Like with me, I jokingly, I say I work with personalities, products, and properties. I work on luxury properties, and lots of times I can do events there or do high-end photo shoots with personalities, so I have like TV doctors and personal trainers and people who've written books and sex experts and just like telling those stories, which is so much more fun, because when I call a producer or an editor, I'm not saying, hey, do you want to talk about the show that's coming up on Netflix or this new series? I'm saying, hey, this is 10 tips to make your house more sellable, or 5 ways that you can stay sane while you're trying to homeschool and run your business, and just like those, or what's another one? Like 5 ways to eat smart while you're social distancing and the gyms are closed, and how to like do a at-home workout. Like these are all useful stories right now that are resonating with people. And it's just like, that's so much, I feel so, I appreciate that those are the kind of stories that I'm trying to tell, as opposed to like, there's been like, when I was an assistant, I'd get assigned accounts, and there was this one, they were like, here is a new supplement that helps new moms lose the baby weight. And I was like, fantastic. And I made a list of mom bloggers, and I asked if I could send them the samples, like a complimentary bottle, so they could try it and review it. And then like a week after I sent them out, they were like, okay, people's kidneys are getting sick, and we need to discontinue this. And so I'm just like, okay, no more. I'm not doing stuff like that anymore. I want to do stuff that I vet myself. I'm not like, I have my own business. I can assign my own stuff. I can say yay or nay instead of, and also the thing is,
good.
If you have an opportunity to play poker with me, you should, because I cannot lie. If I have a great hand, I'm like this. And if I have a crappy hand, I'm like this. Like, and I can't be like, I'm going to bluff. No. And if I believe in you and what you're doing, I will sell the hell out of it.